Hello and welcome to Idea TV News Updates. I am Miracle Obi. We begin with the headlines. Jigawa government welcomes partnership to empower vulnerable women. Ogun Bondsmen scheme frees over 8,000 defendants, eases prison congestion. South African police burst $20 million crystal meth lab on remote farm. And away from Africa, Trump imposes $100,000 annual fee on skilled workers visa. Cyber attack cripples major European airports, causes widespread delays. And in health, cholera outbreak claims 58 lives in BAUCHI, 258 new cases reported. And in business, refinery dispute threatens Nigerian economic progress, CORAN warns. And in sports, Lagos launches sports reforms to revamp athletes and coach development. And now the news in full. Jigawa government in a major move to support vulnerable citizens, particularly women. The Jigawa state government has expressed a strong commitment to collaborate with individuals and donors organizations to enhance the social economic welfare of its people. During a meeting with the Society for Women Development and Empowerment in Nigeria, Sweden, yesterday, the state capital and the Commissioner for Women's Affairs and Social Development, Hadiza Abdulwahab, reaffirmed the government's dedications to improving the lives of women, children, and other vulnerable groups. Abdulwahab highlighted the government's readiness to partner with credible development organizations and philanthropists, stressing the importance of fairness and inclusiveness in the section of beneficiaries across the states. She emphasized that such initiative should reach even the most remote communities, ensuring that no one is left behind. She further stated that the goal is to make a positive impact, particularly in rural areas, and they welcome any partnership that share this vision. Adamu Mohammed, the Jigawa state team leader of Sweden, outlined their mission to provide women with vocational skills and educational support for children, particularly in Benin Kudu local government area. Mohammed called the collaboration crucial for empowering women and advancing education in the region. The government has pledged its full support for this partnership with a focus on extending its reach to even more vulnerable populations across Jigawa. The Ogun State Innovative Bondsmen scheme has freed more than 8,000 defendants and made significant strides in reducing overcrowding in correctional facilities, according to Chief Judge Justice Mosumola D. Speaking at the second edition of the Bondsmen Stakeholders Forum in Abeokuta, Justice Dipeolu revealed that the program launched 5 years ago has transformed the state's bail system and alleviated pressure on its overcrowded prisons. She stated that since the scheme began, over 8,000 defendants awaiting trial has been granted bail, preserving their rights and ensuring they are not unjustly detained. She reiterated that this is not just the statistics, but it represents lives impacted and reduction in the strain of correctional facilities. She noted that between October 2023 and July 2025 alone, over 5,000 individuals have been released, a remarkable increase from the 2,800 released between January 2021 and October 2023. However, the Chief Judge acknowledged challenges within the scheme, particularly issues of defendants absconding after being granted bail. To address this, the state has introduced the 2025 Bondsmen regulations aimed at tightening oversight and standardizing the operation of the scheme. The introduction of the new regulations and the use of technology will further streamline the process. She urged the bondsmen to embrace digital innovation to support the judiciary vision for the future. The bondsmen has not only contributed to reducing prison overcrowding, but also addressed corruption and inefficiencies in the state's bail system, signaling a major step forward in criminal justice reform in Ogun State. And moving on to Africa, South African police has uncovered a large-scale crystal methamphetamine laboratory worth an estimated $20 million during a raid on the farm in the country's east. Authorities say 5 suspects from the North American countries were arrested while 2 others believed to be from West Africa managed to escape. The farm's caretaker was also detained after being found with live ammunition. Police photos from the scene showed industrial-scale manufacturing equipment, weighing machines and lunch boxes filled with illicit drugs. The pallet gun loaded with blanks was also seized. The raid took place on Friday in Volrux, about 225 kilometers southwest in Johannesburg. South Africa has always been long identified as a key hub in the global drug trade. The UN has described the country's geography and porous borders as making it an ideal transit point. While in 2022, Global State of Harm Reduction Report ranked it among the world's largest crystal meth consumer markets. This is not the first such discovery. Last year, police found a similar operation on another farm, where 2 Mexicans and 2 South Africans were arrested. And away from Africa, in a major shift at getting foreign skilled labor, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order imposing a $100,000 annual fee on H-1B visa applicants. The new policy, set to take effect September 21st, applies to the new applications only, but employers must pay the fee annually for up to 6 years per worker. Commerce Secretary Howard Linton defended the move, saying the company needs to decide, is the person valuable enough to justify $100,000 a year to the government, or should they hire an American instead? He added that major corporations support the change. Previously, H-1B visas required around $1,500 in administrative fees, with an annual cap of 85,000 visas. But applicants have now dropped to a 4-year low of 359,000 according to the government data. Tech giants such as Amazon, Google, Apple, METH, and Microsoft, all heavy users of the visa, have already begun adjusting. Amazon advised current H-1B holders to remain in the U.S. and urged those abroad to return before the deadline. Cripples warns the fee could devastate startups and small firms. Immigration attorney Tamina Whitson also called it a nail in the coffin, saying almost everyone is going to be priced out. Industry experts fears the move could weaken U.S. competitiveness, pushing companies to relocate operations overseas. While the H-1B program has long divided opinion, the latest move marks one of the most aggressive restrictions, yet drawing strong reaction at home and abroad, especially in India, the top source of H-1B applicants. And moving over to Europe, a cyber attack targeting Collins Aerospace Mule software has disrupted check-in and baggage system across several major European airports, including Heathrow, Brazil, and Berlin-Brandenburg. The compromised software, which enables airlines to share check-in decks and gates, forced staff to switch to manual processing, leading to long queues and significant delays. At Heathrow, passengers described chaotic scenes, with staff checking in travelers over the phone and tagging bags by hand. Other women said she would be stranded with her elderly parents since 5 a.m. Brazil Airport reported a large impact on flight schedules, while Eurocontrol ordered half of the flights to and fro from Brazil to be cancelled between Saturday and Sunday morning. By Saturday mid-morning, over 140 flights were delayed at Heathrow, more than 100 in Brazil and 62 in Berlin. RTS Collins Aerospace parent companies confirmed the incident and said efforts were on the way to restore services. UK Transport Secretary Haida Alexander said she was closely monitoring the situation. Experts warned the disruption could ripple across Europe, highlighting the fragility of interconnected aviation systems just months after a global IT failure grounded flight in the US. We'll go on a quick break now, and the news continues when we return.
Internet of Things, IoT. The Internet of Things, IoT, is all about creating a connected network of physical devices, from smart refrigerators to industrial sensors that collect and exchange data. IoT applications are driving efficiency in industries like healthcare, manufacturing, and transportation, but security vulnerabilities are a growing issue. With more devices getting connected, cyber attacks targeting IoT systems have surged. Despite these challenges, the IoT market is forecasted to reach $1.6 trillion by 2025, making it a pivotal technology in smart homes, cities, and industrial processes.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is Idea TV News Updates. Now the rest of the news. In health, Bauchi State has recorded a fresh outbreak of cholera across 14 out of its 20 local government areas, claiming 58 lives and leaving 258 new cases in its week. The Deputy Governor, Alwal Jato, revealed this during the inauguration of the State Cholera Steering Committee and the State Technical Working Committee. He described cholera as one of the state's most pressing public health threats, despite ongoing efforts to contain it. Jato further said the outbreak are often preventable with timely interventions, coordinated responses, and sustained improvement in water, sanitation, and hygiene, adding that Bauchi State has recorded not less than 258 new cases and 58 fatalities. He explained that the newly established steering committee would serve as a central coordinating body for Bauchi multi-sectorial response to cholera outbreak, while also driving long-term prevention strategies in line with the National Cholera Control Plan and the broader objectives of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Earlier this year, the Nigerian Center of Disease Control and Prevention reported a sharp nationwide increase in cholera cases between January 27th and February 2nd, 2025. Infection rose by 75% compared to the same period in 2024, while deaths linked to the disease surged by 250% within the same 5-week window, highlighting the urgency for coordinated intervention. And in business, Nigeria dive to become self-sufficient in refined petroleum products is facing a serious challenge. The Crude Oil Refiners Association has warned refineries operators, petroleum marketers, and union could derail the nation's economic recovery. CORAN's publicity secretary, Eche Idoko, expressed deep concerns over rising tension, particularly between the Dangote Petroleum Refinery and the Depots and Petroleum Product Marketers Association of Nigeria, DEPMAN. Speaking on the situation, Idoko, the refining revolution represents a historic opportunity for Nigerians to reduce its reliance on imports, saving foreign exchange and creates jobs. But rivalry and unfounded accusation only threatens to derail these gains. Collaboration is key. Claims by DEPMAN that Dangote is deliberately lowering fuel price to squeeze out competitors have been dismissed by Dangote Group as misleading. CORAN stressed that while healthy competition is essential, hostility risks undermining the country's goal for fuel self-sufficiency. For decades, Nigeria imported over 90% of its refined petroleum despite being Africa's largest crude oil producer. The emergence of the Dangote refinery and several modular refineries offer a chance to reverse that trend. However, the conflict extends beyond marketers. Political leaders are now calling for claims after the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, and truck drivers threatened to block refineries across a protest. Senator Steve Karimi of Kogi State warned that such disruption could reverse economic progress made since the removal of the fuel subsidies. CORAN concluded that the future of Nigerian refining sector depends on cooperation, stating that the sector must be nurtured as the engine of economic transformation, not suffocated by rivalry. And finally, in sports, Lagos State has launched an ambitious sports reform agenda aimed to overhauling athletes' development, strengthening grassroots sports, and boosting coach performance across the state. Announced by the Director General of Lagos State Sports Commissioner LSSC, Lekon Fatodo, at the press conference on Friday. The initiative focuses on modernizing athlete management, expanding access to facilities, and improving support system for the sports professionals. A key highlight in the introduction of the online portal for athletes registration and performance tracking, Lagos' first ever centralized athletes database. This will close the loopholes that allow imposters and ineligible athletes into the system, Fatal said. The reform places schools at the heart of talent discovery, working with teachers, parents, and community club to ensure young athletes have a clear pathway to national and international success. Additional features include biometric profiling, regular performance assessment, and a career transition program for retirees athletes. Coaches will benefit from improved training, and resources would also be held to new performance benchmark. A dedicated team Lagos monitoring unit would oversee implementation, track key indicators, and publish annual progress reports. And ex-athletes would also be appointed as liaison officer to represent athletes' interests. As part of the restructuring, the controversial senior athletes group has been dissolved following recent protests. The LSS has called on aspiring athletes to register. Registration at Lagos moved to position itself as a national leader in sports development. And that's all we have for you at Idea TV News Update. But before we go, here is a recap of the headlines. Jigawa government welcomes partnership to empower vulnerable women. Ogun Bondsmen scheme frees over 8,000 defendants eases prison congestion. South African police burst $20 million crystal meth lab on remote farm. And away from Africa, Trump imposes $100,000 annual fee on skilled workers' visas. Cyber attack cripples major European airports, causing widespread delays. And in health, cholera outbreak claims 58 lives in BAUCHI, 258 new cases reported. And in business, refinery dispute threatens Nigerian economic progress, CORAN warns. And finally, in sports, Lagos launches sports reforms to revamp athletes and coach development. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I am Miracle Obi. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.